Okay, I'd like to call the public hearing of the Bristol County Water Authority to order. Tonight's item is on a proposed water rate increase by the Bristol Water Authority. And as part of the public hearing, I'm going to turn it over to our Executive Director, Steve Kutu, who has a presentation he'll be making.
Very good. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight and tonight's Zoom meeting. And we haven't had too many Zooms of late, so hopefully just bear with me as I maneuver through this as the administrator of the meeting and also go through this PowerPoint presentation. I am going to mute everybody during the presentation. And then following the presentation, we will unmute. And if anybody has any questions or comments, they could use the Zoom features to raise hand, or if we can see you, if you want to raise your hand that way, or if you're on a phone, you can speak that way as well. Okay. Can everybody see this? If you nod your head. Okay. Very good. So this PowerPoint presentation has been posted on our website for the past couple of weeks after we made the legal notice posting in the newspaper. The presentation will provide some background on Bristol County Water, our strategic plan, some of our challenges and infrastructure needs. I'll talk about a little bit some of our recently completed work this past year, along with our upcoming capital program, and then along with our budget and funding needs to accomplish our goals. Bristol County Water, we serve the towns of Barrington, Bristol, and Warren. For a 49,000 customer population, we have approximately 17,000 meter connections, and our average daily flow is about 3.2 million gallons per day. We have 233 miles of pipeline in the ground, some of it very old, 100 plus years old, and 33 employees. Our strategic plan contains 4 major initiatives, and that is to continue to maintain high quality water and secure an alternate water supply source for the area. Continue to provide exceptional customer service, continue to enhance our information management systems to improve operational efficiencies, and continue to ensure financial stability of Bristol County Water Authority. Some of our challenges. We have a single source of water supply. All of our water is purchased from Providence Water. It comes through a single pipeline, which is located 160 feet below the Providence River. It comes in through East Providence, just south of Bayview Academy. Like many water systems in this area, we have aging infrastructure. We have many old cast iron pipes in the system, and areas, notably in the Bristol area, with poor system pressure. The costs of necessary infrastructure upgrades continue to increase. There's very limited state and federal funding to support our work. We need to look into divesting our obsolete infrastructure to eliminate future financial burden to our ratepayers. There's an increased need for security for our facilities, and notably in today's world, cyber. And we've been seeing a declining trend in water usage and water sales over the years. This slide has been put up in past presentations, but our most critical issue to be addressed is our water supply. All our water, again, comes from Providence. And the risk is what if Providence had an issue, or if our East Bay pipeline was out of service or had a leak, which it did, as we all know, back in 2019. We had a shutdown. The leak was significant, 400,000 gallons per day. The cost to repair that pipeline was $4 million. And when we did make that repair, our 24-inch pipeline was now reduced to an 18-inch liner pipe, thereby decreasing some of our flow capacity. Our solution to our water supply issues is a connection to Pawtucket Water. Thereby, Bristol County Water would have access to two separate high-quality water supplies. You'd be able to take usage from Providence and/or Pawtucket and purchase one that was the least expensive. This work would be done in two phases. The first phase is a 24-inch interconnection with the East Providence system, which provides a redundant connection to the Providence supply. The second phase is a 30-inch main connection from East Providence to the Pawtucket East Providence line, and a tie-in to the Pawtucket system. The majority of phase one project was completed this past construction season. It's 1.5 miles of 24-inch pipeline, had a price tag of about $8 million. Again, most of the pipeline work has now been completed, and we anticipate activation in the spring. And this is a critical connection, as it will provide us with a reliable emergency interconnection if in the future we had another issue with our East Bay pipeline. This is a schematic of that connection. Here you can see where East Providence pipeline comes across the river, and just a little bit to the south is our East Bay pipeline here. And this yellow line is the 24-inch pipeline that makes the connection to the two systems. Very critical interconnection. Phase two would continue for 5 miles of 30-inch pipeline proposed to be constructed with East Providence. That project currently has an estimated price tag of $40 million. Pawtucket's a completely separate system. Again, we'd be able to use both water supplies, and that project is currently in the early design phase. We have constructed our 10-year financial plans accounting for construction of this pipeline with and without the city of East Providence. And we have built some reserves over the past several years to apply to project costs for this project. Currently, our budget does not account for any state or federal funds. However, we will be pursuing those funds aggressively in this coming year. Of note, East Providence has agreed to cost share on phase two design, which has a cost of $1.5 million. This is a significant step in creating a partnership with the city of East Providence. We put together a bar chart, which shows our debt service without East Providence sharing in the cost. And with some federal funds and or with EP sharing that cost, we could smooth out these this bar chart. Besides our water system planning, water supply, we also need to continue to upgrade our distribution system to continue to provide high quality water. That entails relining or replacing many of our old cast iron pipes, which you may see here. And then after the lining process, you basically have a brand new pipe here. We continue to look at and eliminate low pressure zones to improve flows and to minimize shutdowns for reliability. We had a busy construction season this past year. We cleaned and lined over 3,000 feet on Mount Hope Avenue in Bristol. And we also replaced some old pipeline in Barrington on some smaller streets. Also, utilizing our own in-house crews, we continue to replace old galvanized services with focus on those with lead connectors. Another area that we look to improve on is the water pressure, particularly in the Bristol area. And in this past summer, we installed 3,400 feet of 12-inch main on Metacom Avenue in Bristol, along with about 2,000 feet on some local streets. These pipelines will serve to increase the water pressure along with the pump station that we will be building at the corner of Hope Street and Tupelo, which is under construction currently. For our facility planning efforts, we are planning for the demolition of obsolete treatment facilities and the removal of the Kickamuit Reservoir dams. With respect to the dam project, this project is currently in the permit phase under review by the DEM, CRMC, and U.S. Army Corps. This past year, we were the recipient of 2 new grants, one sizable grant from the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation of nearly $1.4 million. In total, we have received over $2.8 million to support this project. Our fiscal year budget coming up. Some of the work that we'll be doing this coming year is the completion of the phase 1 Pawtucket pipeline, the continuation design for the Pawtucket pipeline phase 2, construction of the Hope Street pump station for expansion of the high pressure zone in Bristol, continued pipeline improvements, estimated at $2.3 million. We have funds for plant demo expenses and dam removal work, and also some miscellaneous facility improvements. Taking a look at our operations and maintenance budget is an overall decrease of 2.3% from last year's budget. While we know we will see some increases due to inflationary costs, we anticipate utility rate hikes from electric and gas. We have contractual salary increases and Providence Water increase of about 4%. However, we will realize budget decreases in pension and other post-employment benefit contributions, in professional service fees, and postage and billing savings. Our O&M budget is all built around to continue to maintain a high level of service. We do that by a number of efficiencies that have been put in place and that we continue to improve upon. Don't need to list every single one of these, but we have recently installed a new smart meter system and brought many of in-house work, such as maintenance of vehicles, repairs to service and main breaks, all serve to decrease overall costs. Looking at the budget as a total and where the dollars are going, you can see a bulk of it, 40%, is into the capital program. So those funds are actually going back into the system to improve the system and to ensure our long-term water supply. Again, one of the challenges is a decrease in water sales. For the past 20 years, we've seen a decrease of about 20% overall. Getting into the numbers for our upcoming FY23 budget, our O&M budget of just over $9 million, a capital budget of $10.4 million. To proceed with these programs is a revenue requirement of just over $15 million. We, the staff, are recommending to the board a 4% rate increase to support that revenue requirement. An average residential cost increase of 4% is a little over $25 a year, or a little over $2 a month. In summary, the budget is based on our strategic plan objectives. First and foremost is to secure our water supply, and that's the Pawtucket Pipeline project. Continuing to upgrade our infrastructure for improved water quality and reliability. We continue to provide outstanding customer service using latest meter technology. We need to ensure financial stability by maintaining our reserves, bonding to reduce future rate increases, and account for reductions in consumption. That concludes my presentation. I'll stop this and then I will unmute everybody. I think you can also unmute yourselves.
Steve, this is Gina, and I have a question. Do you think, given the fact that we don't have a signed agreement yet with East Providence, that a 4% raise is sufficient?
At this point, yes, we do, because we do have a signed agreement for the design. And at this point, the design is at an early stage, and we will be getting some more refined construction estimates as the design moves a little further along. Yes, Alan.
He needs to unmute himself, Steve.
I'm sorry. You can hear me now?
I can hear you
Yes.
now.
Okay. My question is, were any ratepayers viewing this during this portion of the public hearing?
There are some listings here that I don't know, so I assume that there are.
Okay, well, traditionally, we've had very few people come, so it doesn't surprise me. I just wanted to confirm that, that's all.
Well, let me ask if any of I see three people who I can't identify. And if those three, any members of the public are present, if they like to make a statement or ask a question. And if you do so, if you could identify yourself and where you're from, and if you represent a group or just representing yourself. Any members of the public interested in making a comment or asking a question? Okay, we'll open it up to board members again. And if the members of the public want to speak, they'll have opportunities later in the meeting. Any other comments or questions from board members?
This is Gina. Juan, a question. Are we voting now, or are we reconvening at 6:30 to vote?
We will reconvene in a board meeting at 6:30, and that's where we'll take votes.
Okay.
Well,
If anybody else has any comments on the public, they could also, I think, type in a question if they have that access as well. I don't see anything.
I think the presentation was certainly thorough and all encompassing. I appreciate the effort you put into that.
Thank you. There's some help with some good staff here too as well.
Absolutely.
well, if there are no further comments or questions,
I move to close the public hearing.
I don't think we need a second for that, but
I'll second it in case you
Okay.
do.
thank you.
I'm voting.
No. Let me ask one more time. Are there any comments that wish to be made by the general public? Hearing none, all in favor of closing the public record, say aye and raise their hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I think all the board members have raised their hand, so it's unanimous for those who are present. And I will close the public meeting, and our board meeting starts in about 9 minutes at 6:30. So we'll see you all then.